Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Tokupan22, and welcome to Mighty Number 9. Unfortunately, there has not been a lot of great talk about this particular game, because folks like me, who are huge fans of the Mega Man franchise, have been waiting for this to come out. Especially after it was kickstarted and created by Concept, as well as pretty much the father of Mega Man, Keiji Inafune. Anyway, a lot of people have been talking about this game and how much of a disappointment that it is. And there have been some mixed reviews next to negative reviews about this game as a whole. Some have just plain said that it completely sucks. And I kind of share, well, kind of nothing. I do share in everybody's sentiment, especially after the last gameplay that I did, which you will see towards the end of the video. The game, in my opinion, is not bad, but it's not really good either. It didn't meet the expectations of a lot of the fans, let alone myself. As I've mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of this game. I'm a huge fan of Mega Man. Let me make sure to be clear about that. I'm a huge fan of Mega Man. I was first introduced to the Mega Man series via Mega Man X. I had my Super Nintendo, I was in middle school, and when I first saw the box cover, I was like, I just have to play this game. And that was with Mega Man X1. After that, the rest was history. I even went back and played some of the older games on the regular Nintendo Entertainment System, and I just have been a fan ever since, you know? I mean, I loved it. I played practically all of them, including the ones for Game Boy Advance, Battle Network, the Zero series, and then of course when the DS came around, I played the Star Force series, and I played the two that were on the PlayStation Portable. So, matter of fact, the gameplay almost reminds me of that from the two PlayStation Portable games. But even those were more polished compared to this. As far as the game itself, well, like I said, it's not exactly as horrible as some people have made it out to be. But it's not exactly the greatest thing since sliced bread either. Trying to explain it is going to be a little complicated, so I'm going to try to do this to the best of my abilities. Graphics are okay. I mean, it's just, I guess, and I'm sure I'll be saying this again later on, but all around mediocre, in my opinion. But the graphics they're okay. They seem to fit as far as the overall tone of the game. But at the same time, there are certain things about it as well as just, okay. There are certain things about this game that you think would have been fixed with the amount of money that has been put into it, the amount of delays that we've had to put up with, and as much as they've tried so hard to push towards getting this game to be the greatest thing, to be worthy of being a sort of descendant of Mega Man. But it just doesn't feel like it. It's like it has the elements there, but it's missing some others. And it just is not what it could have potentially been. It could have been something that reminded folks of why we love Mega Man so much, with some more added to it. Things that you never thought would have even been in the first Mega Man game. I mean, heck, it was actually kind of a trip when X5 came out and Mega Man X could actually duck. That was definitely something different. And then, of course, going back to the graphics, one thing that I will admit that doesn't make any sense is why is it that nobody's mouth moves? Why do their lips not move? Again, going back to a comparison of Mega Man Powered Up, which is basically an updated retelling of the first Mega Man game, even their mouths moved. And while everything was all cutesy and chibi, short, whatever, it was still a good game. And it still pretty much felt like a Mega Man game, and you had the option to make it feel even more like it. And by that I mean changing the music that you would listen to, changing the difficulty, which you can do that here, but still, it just doesn't feel like it should. It's not exactly up to what you think that it should have been. Let's see, what else am I missing here? Well, another thing about the game is that, speaking of nostalgia, it feels a lot more like a lot of this stuff is recycled. Not necessarily anything new, but really recycled. It's like they just slapped on different skins on a lot of the mighty numbers, as far as exactly who's who and what they do. Like Seismic is pretty much Gutsman on wheels, treads to be specific. Cryogen is now a female with some very terrible puns that used to be Iceman, I guess. Then of course there's
what was that?
What's that guy's name? Brandish, who I will admit is actually kind of a cooler version of Gutsman. I mean, you really can't go wrong with a guy who can create a sword out of his arm. Well, he carries a sword, but when Beck, the main character, obtains his power, he actually is able to transform his hand into a sword. So, yeah, I mean, not necessarily anything bad. And speaking of the other mighty numbers, as far as all of them, they have some pretty unique designs. I'll give them that. Especially, again, Brandish, who is, I think, mighty number 6. I can't remember. I liked Beck's design as well. I wasn't exactly sure about it at first, especially with the arm cannon, which of course, having a gun for an arm is always a perk when it comes to whatever character I'm playing, whatever game I'm playing that has a character like that. Which is why I also kind of like the Metroid games. Some of them, at least. Then, and again, back to the design. He kind of reminds me of something that I saw, sort of a comic book that I remember seeing an advertisement for. It was supposed to be anime based, but it never really came out. I remember the name was called Blast, but I think that it never came out because that was more of a Mega Man ripoff than anything. I wonder if that's where he might have gotten the... I wonder if Kenji and Fude might have seen that. But that's besides the point.
Come on.
Another issue that I do have, well, actually it's not an issue. Another thing that I actually want to talk about is the powers. It's actually a slight issue because the powers, well, the powers aren't all that great. Some of them are actually kind of cool. Again, going back to Brandish, who probably has, in my opinion, the best one out of all of them. It's short range, but it's a nice sword technique. A couple of sword techniques that he knows. Plus, I like his ninja-like design when Beck takes that form. Another useful one would actually be the what is known as Avi, the helicopter flying-ish mighty number. His power is definitely useful, while as an attack, it's literally a hit or miss. But his but what makes it more useful is the fact that he has, and you're seeing in this video, that he has a propeller. He can change his arm into a propeller, and he's able to not only jump a little bit higher, but hover for a certain amount of time. And the longer you hold down the button, then of course he can just hover around a bit, and of course that uses up your yellow meter up there. What I'm basically getting at is that a lot of the other ones seem kind of cool, but aren't exactly as useful as you would think they would be. Certain levels, yeah, they were a lot more useful, but after that, really, it's just nothing. say for example, Seismic's ability. You're basically a bit of a transformer, and you're on treads, and you're able to dash with sort of a shield across the screen. But you still got to be careful of that because, again, you use up meter. And right here, as you'll see, I'm using it as Brandish's weakness.
I'm here to help. I've come to save you, Brand.
No closer.
And
And my blades will have their
I can understand the disappointment that everybody has had
Tell me
in
what's happening.
Mighty Number 9,
can't
because
get
it's like towards the end
if you want
they
save me.
they just really
You must
they just kind of slipped up.
destroy
I want to say,
me.
well, I wouldn't say slipped up. Maybe got kind of lazy. And they probably just slapped some other stuff together towards the end because they were trying to finally get this game out there. The way I see it, this game has some potential. You know, I still think that it has some potential. If they go back, take what they have, and improve upon it, if they try to decide to make this into a full-on series, like, I don't know, maybe a sequel to this one, then maybe it'll be much better the next time around, provided that there will be a next time around. I just think that it could be a whole lot better. I mean, taking elements from a game that you created in the past, that's no problem, especially if you're the one that did it.
My body,
But
my blades.
just don't go and do like what the people that you just left from,
Brand, I'll save you.
i.e.
I
Capcom,
promise.
have been doing for years, which is pretty much rehashing everything and then adding new stuff to where they could have just put that in there from the very beginning, or at least made it a DLC. But I hope that people that are watching this video understand what I'm trying to say, because I have mixed feelings about this as well. And once again, I'm starting to run out of time as far as how much I can put on there with commentary, since I'm using SHAREfactory. But another thing that I want to mention is a couple other things I want to mention. One is the story. The story is actually pretty unique, and while the first few parts of the game, you can tell that it's practically retelling the Mega Man, towards the end, you start seeing a little bit of a difference. So that's pretty cool, pretty good. Another little bit of information is that they had some pretty high-ranking folks behind this game. At least when you think about voice acting and a particular YouTube musician. You have Beck being voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, and then you have Steve Blum playing one of the Mighty Numbers, who is actually a sniper type, I believe. I believe it's Shadow Shade, I think his name is. I can't remember. But it was nice to hear them do their thing in this game. And another surprise, of course you can hear this in the credits if you let it run for a long period of time. They actually had somebody actually create a song for this game. Some may have heard it already. It was by Mega Ran. And it was actually pretty good. I mean, that was definitely a highlight, one other highlight of the game. And I will say this, again, as a whole, the game is not bad, but it's not exactly good either. One game I know I can compare it to is Mega Man X7. Now, I went through that game and had really, just about had to grit my teeth just to get through it. And if it was anything like that, then yeah, it probably would be the most hated game of all. Anyway, I'm gonna let the rest of the video take over, especially because I'm running out of time. Also, I was really looking forward to the 2-player co-op mode. As you can see right here, it's really not all that it's cracked up to be, and it's just as much of a disappointment. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed the vid. I hope that this video provided you with a good amount of information, and I'll see you in the next one. So keep on. Got him. Oh boy. Desperation. I know. Okay. No, no, he got me.
One more time. One more. Then I give up. On your mark.
I'm not giving up on this.
2,
Yeah.
1, go!
Oh, come on. I need to make sure that I don't run into the flaming walls. Now. No.
Mission.
Yes. Oh. Well, it worked. Yeah.